In September 2025, Ethiopia switched on Africa's biggest hydroelectric dam, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERDI. A moment that was, in truth, a century in the making. The dream of harnessing the immense power of the Blue Nile, the source of over 85% of the Nile's water, has been a cornerstone of Ethiopian ambition since the 1960s. For decades, however, political instability, regional conflicts, and a lack of funding kept this dream just out of reach. The nation, often portrayed through the lens of drought and famine, was determined to write a new chapter. The journey began in earnest in 2011. 14 years of relentless construction followed, a monumental undertaking built at a cost of $5 billion. But what makes GERD truly unique is how it was paid for. In an unprecedented act of national unity, the project was funded almost entirely by Ethiopians themselves. Civil servants sacrificed a month's salary. Business people, farmers, and students bought dam bonds. The diaspora, scattered across the globe, sent money home. It was a collective investment, a shared sacrifice for a common goal. The result is an engineering marvel. A colossal structure of rolled, compacted concrete stretching over a mile long and standing taller than a 40-story building. Behind it, a reservoir capable of holding 74 billion cubic meters of water. Its 13 turbines are designed to generate over 6,000 megawatts of electricity, more than doubling Ethiopia's previous output. This is why GERD is so much more than concrete and steel. It's a powerful statement of sovereignty, a declaration that Ethiopia has the right to utilize its own natural resources for the development of its people, charting its own course without depending on external financiers. It is a deep source of national pride, a symbol of self-reliance, and a definitive break from a past defined by poverty. And most importantly, it represents possibility. The possibility of light in every home, of powering new industries, of creating jobs for a young and growing population, and of igniting a true renaissance, not just for Ethiopia, but for the entire region. For decades, nearly half of Ethiopia's people have lived without reliable electricity. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a fundamental barrier to progress. Imagine a world where the lights go out without warning, where children strain to study by the flicker of a candle, and where hospitals depend on aging, unreliable generators to power life-saving equipment. This has been the reality for over 60 million Ethiopians. Blackouts are common, a daily disruption that stifles ambition and cripples industry. Small businesses cannot scale. Factories operate at a fraction of their capacity, and the digital economy, the engine of modern growth, remains largely out of reach. The lack of power has kept a nation with immense potential locked in a cycle of poverty, unable to fully harness the talents and energy of its people. But from the heart of the Ethiopian highlands, a monumental vision began to take shape. A project of unprecedented scale, born from a collective national will, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, or GERD. This is more than just concrete and steel, it is a declaration of self-reliance, financed not by foreign loans, but by the contributions of ordinary Ethiopians at home and abroad. It represents a profound sense of national pride and a dream of a brighter future. The sheer scale of GERD is difficult to comprehend. The main dam stretches over a mile long and stands taller than a 45-story building. Behind it, a vast reservoir is forming, designed to hold 74 billion cubic meters of water, an artificial lake so large it will take several years to fill. Deep within its structure lie 13 massive Francis turbines. Once fully operational, these engineering marvels will generate over 5,000 megawatts of electricity. To put that in perspective, GERD promises to change that. Its massive turbines will more than double Ethiopia's entire current power generation capacity. This surge of energy will be transformative, lighting up millions of homes, powering a new generation of factories, fueling agricultural irrigation systems, and even charging the electric cars that are part of Ethiopia's Green Development Plan. It is the cornerstone of a plan to transform Ethiopia from a primarily agrarian society into an industrialized middle-income country. But GERD is bigger than Ethiopia. Its vision extends far beyond its own borders, tapping into a long-held dream of Pan-African unity and cooperation. The dam is designed to produce a significant energy surplus, power that Ethiopia plans to sell to its neighbors. This isn't just a commercial transaction, it's the foundation of a new regional dynamic. Through initiatives like the Eastern Africa Power Pool, GERD's electricity could flow across borders, electrifying cities in Djibouti, Kenya, South Sudan, and even Sudan itself. This shared grid could knit together the region's economies, lowering energy costs, stimulating cross-border trade, and creating a web of mutual dependency that fosters stability and peace. In a world racing towards clean energy, this single dam could help an entire region leapfrog fossil fuels and embrace a sustainable future. For many, GERD is a powerful symbol, a project conceived, financed, and built by Africans for Africans, demonstrating the continent's capacity to determine its own destiny. Yet the waters of the Nile, the lifeblood of this grand project, are shared, and not everyone is celebrating. Downstream in the arid lands of Egypt, the dam is viewed not as a symbol of progress, but as an existential threat. For millennia, Egyptian civilization has been a gift of the Nile. Today, the nation of over 100 million people depends on the river for more than 95% of its fresh water. This dependency is absolute. Egypt's fears are rooted in history and hydrology. They point to colonial-era treaties from 1929 and 1959 which granted Egypt and Sudan a majority share of the Nile's water. Ethiopia, which was never a signatory, rejects these agreements as relics of a bygone era. Egypt's primary concern is the filling of the dam's massive reservoir. If Ethiopia fills it too quickly, especially during a period of drought, it could drastically reduce the water reaching Egypt, with catastrophic consequences for its agriculture and the water supply for its citizens. It could also impact the electricity production of its own cornerstone project, the Aswan High Dam. Caught in the middle is Sudan. Its position is far more complex. On one hand, Sudan stands to benefit significantly from GERD. The dam will regulate the flow of the Blue Nile, smoothing out the devastating seasonal floods that have historically plagued the country, and providing a more consistent water supply for irrigation. It also offers the promise of cheap, reliable electricity. However, Sudan also has profound worries. The dam's sheer proximity means that any safety issue, or in the worst-case scenario, a catastrophic failure, would have immediate and disastrous consequences for its population and its own dams downstream. Like Egypt, Sudan worries about how flows will be managed during drought. This precarious position has led Sudan to vacillate, at times siding with Egypt, at others showing support for Ethiopia's project. This complex web of hopes and fears has led to a decade of fraught negotiations. Decades of negotiations mediated by the African Union, the United Nations, and the United States have yet to produce a binding agreement. The sticking points are fundamental. Egypt and Sudan demand a legally binding treaty that governs the dam's filling and operation, including clear rules for drought mitigation. Ethiopia, protective of its sovereignty, has so far only been willing to commit to non-binding guidelines. Key questions remain unanswered. What is the precise mechanism for sharing data? How will disputes be resolved? Who will arbitrate when disagreements arise? Amidst the diplomatic stalemate, Ethiopia has moved forward, celebrating the initial phases of power generation. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed insists GERD will not harm its neighbors, calling it a project of peace and prosperity, a win-win for the entire region. He has repeatedly stated that Ethiopia has no intention of harming the downstream countries, and that the goal is equitable and reasonable utilization of the river. But in the high-stakes geopolitics of water, trust requires more than promises. It requires transparency, verifiable data, and legally sound commitments. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam stands as a testament to a nation's ambition and a continent's potential. But the river it harnesses is a shared inheritance. Ethiopia, Egypt, and Sudan must find common ground, forging an agreement built on mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. If they succeed, the dam could become a model of African cooperation, a source of sustainable energy that lifts millions out of poverty. If they fail, this monument to progress could instead deepen old divides, casting a long shadow over the waters of the Nile for generations to come. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is more than concrete and steel. It's a monumental declaration. It proves that Africans can dream big, fund big, and build big. Financed by the hands and hearts of ordinary Ethiopians, this project shatters old paradigms of dependency. It is a powerful symbol of self-reliance, a testament to what can be achieved when a nation unites behind a common vision. The GERD is a physical manifestation of a new African narrative, written by the continent's own people. But with great power comes immense responsibility. The completion of the dam is not an end, but a beginning. Now comes the harder task, ensuring its benefits flow fairly across borders, across communities, across generations. The Nile is a shared lifeline, and its waters must be managed with wisdom and cooperation. The ongoing dialogue with Egypt and Sudan, while tense, holds the promise of a new era of hydrodiplomacy, where data is shared transparently and operations are coordinated for mutual gain, ensuring regional stability. Domestically, the electricity generated must reach the furthest villages, power schools and hospitals, and ignite the engines of small businesses. True development is measured not just in megawatts, but in the tangible improvement of individual lives. And this is a promise made across generations. The GERD must be managed with an unwavering commitment to environmental stewardship, ensuring this legacy of progress is a sustainable one, a generational trust passed on to the future. If managed wisely, GERD will not just power Ethiopia, it will become a beacon, a blueprint for a new kind of continental cooperation. It represents a critical node in the dream of an interconnected African power grid, a future where energy flows freely, fueling industrialization and innovation from Cairo to Cape Town. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, in its ultimate expression, will not be just Ethiopia's triumph. It will light the way for Pan-African prosperity.